And in New York City, the trial the world is watching. Former bad boy artist Dawn Richard is back on the stand right now to testify against her former boss, Sean Diddy Combs. Let's take you to New York City now to find out how that's going. Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Kraft is outside the courthouse with the details for us. Kelly, good morning.
Well, good morning to you, Julie. The world is definitely watching this case, especially here in New York City, where so many people come and gather to see if they can get a glimpse of the people that are making their way in and out of the courtroom. This morning, we caught a glimpse of Dawn Richard, who made her way to the witness stand again today. We can put that video up for you. This is when she made her way into the courthouse this morning. So when we left here on Friday, she was under direct examination. So this morning, that direct examination continued. Right now, we are under cross-examination of that witness. Now, Dawn is a former Bad Boys record talent. She was a recording artist under Diddy's label, Sean Combs' label, and she was also in a trio with him. So she was in a group with him as well. When she's been on the stand so far this morning, she has been testifying to several incidents of alleged abuse that she said she witnessed between Sean Combs and Cassie Ventura. We have some of that testimony that we can put up for you on the screen right now, in which she is detailing that alleged abuse. So what she is talking about are several incidents, including one at a Hollywood restaurant, as well as other incidents in which she saw Combs allegedly abused Cassie. She also testified to the fact that she felt that if she said anything out of the ordinary that would indicate any sort of abuse in that kind of a relationship, that she said it would mean that would be the end of her and possibly she would die. So she had to clarify that under direct examination this morning. Now, under cross, Julie, the first thing that was asked, Nicole Westmoreland, she's an Atlanta-based attorney. She was up first on cross-examination, and what she was asking Cassie about is this pending, not Cassie, excuse me, Dawn Richard about, is this pending lawsuit that she has against Sean Combs. Now, they cannot get into the specifics of that, but that's what she was asked about right away on cross-examination. I also want to point out one other thing. This morning, before things got underway here in New York City, the judge made an indication that he feels that this case is beginning or could begin to be built on gossip, which I thought was really startling, because what he's saying is that if we're going to have employee after employee come up and testify to these alleged incidents of abuse, we're going to have a situation where this possibly could become a case built on gossip, and he wants the federal prosecutors to be wary of that, Julie.
Oh my, boy, that is interesting, Kelly. Yeah, as we know, we don't want trials by gossip or by rumor or by hearsay, which is why, as you know, being an attorney yourself, the rules are strict with hearsay statements. So I suppose we'll see what happens when those employees are called. Tell me, Kelly, if you know, there's been so much talk about whether we'll see Aubrey O'Day coming in, another former member of Danity Kane like Dawn Richard. We've been seeing reports that she's not going to be called. Any word as to why?
That's exactly what we're hearing as well, Julie. And it could be this repetition of a situation of what Dawn Richard was testifying to. So they don't want to be in a situation where there's cumulative testimony. So we're going to take a look and see what exactly happens there. We do know that this week we are expecting to hear from Cassie Ventura's mother, as well as after Dawn Richard is done testifying today, we're expected to hear from one of Cassie Ventura's best friends. Her name is Carrie Morgan. So she is on deck after Dawn Richard is testifying, Julie.
Oh, those are going to be big witnesses. Wow, Cassie's best friend and her mom. Kelly, I'll look forward to your reports later today. Thank you so much for that early update for us. We'll let you get back to court.
Welcome, Julie.
And now let's talk some more. Let's bring in law enforcement expert and trial consultant Sonny Slaughter, somebody who's been following the case since the very beginning. Good morning, Sonny. Tell me, please, if you would, just based on where we are right now, would like for you to assess the government's case. What, if anything, have they established for you with respect to the crimes they've accused Sean Combs of?
Good morning, Julie. Thank you for having me. So With respect to Sean Diddy Combs in this case and what the prosecution has done thus far, is they have laid the foundation of what the sex trafficking charge is, but I'm not sure that they've done it in a way that the public might understand the intersection of domestic violence and human trafficking as it relates to force, fraud, and coercion. I don't think that they've given enough of the basis for people because there's so much conversation, and I've talked about this out loud around the separation of domestic violence and human trafficking, which is actually not necessarily a separation in law and fact and how it plays out in the victimization of an individual who, like Cassie, has been seen as the person leading the charge against these accusations. But in a sex trafficking case, we have to take out what the government should be doing and what I think they need to do a little bit more of, and that is focus on the travel, the actual transportation, and all of the factors, because sex trafficking has been so glorified and glamorized in the media and in movies and with the narrative that it doesn't lay enough foundation for the actual law. And as somebody who has worked on state law and federal law as it relates to human trafficking, I think we're missing this. Cassie's stories were vulgar, they were very detailed, but I think the prosecution is kind of missing the mark in what they need to do around what the law says, what the actions are, and how this is playing out in the public right now. These witnesses are good, but I don't think the prosecution, and I know they have this, I know they have this information, I know they know how to do it well, but we're losing sight, I think, because of the high profile nature of the music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, and not in the same manner in which we would persecute and prosecute someone else. And I say persecute, public eye, prosecute, public arena of criminal justice systems.
Yes, Sonny, I love your analysis. I really appreciate that because think about it, take the two of us, for example. We're used to working in the criminal justice system. We understand that, Cassie getting on one of Diddy's private planes to go from LA to New York, that can be the transportation that's needed to lay it out.
Yes.
For jurors, the one thing I keep mentioning is they might be thinking, a lot of people sometimes confuse, as you know, trafficking with human smuggling. We don't need somebody being moved across
Yes.
a border. We don't need somebody being snuck into a house through a tunnel or something. No, you could be trafficked in your own home, and so
Yes.
those things, you're right. They need to kind of marry the law more with their facts. And I have faith that they're going to do it in the end. But I like what you're saying. In the court of public opinion, if people aren't looking at the statute like we are,
Yes.
they might be going, well, geez, is it just a DV case? And it's not.
And the DV is intricately laid. Now, I'm talking from a policy writing standpoint. The domestic violence laws and behaviors are intricately laid into the human trafficking laws, actions, and behavior. There can be a relationship, but in the public, we see on television somebody being snatched that's not known, but there are tons and so many cases of human trafficking, familial cases, inter-partner relationship cases, in which we don't see publicly, we don't see those play out in the media, so people don't have the same level of understanding. In the DV law, it talks about transportation. In the human trafficking law, it talks about transportation. We are talking about, this is not a thing about his bottles, but this is about behavior.
Sure is. Oh, Sonny, I could talk to you all day about this. Excellent points that you made. We'll continue with the conversation with Diddy, and we'll keep explaining the law and how it's applicable to these facts on the show together. Thank you much.